We are public safety. We are the voices of the future. We are change. Public safety started in early 2021 to educate, train, and employ young adults from Red Hook. It allowed us to safely explore who we are as individuals, what we wanted our future to look like, all while engaging with the community and putting together the issue of public safety in Red Hook with a presentation to our community leaders.
Hi, my name is Johnny Ramsey. I'm a public safety organizer at RHI. One thing I want people to know about Red Hook, it may seem like a rowdy, violent place, but it's full of community. It's all about family. I feel like when you tell people you from Red Hook, they look at you like, oh, alright, she's ghetto, she's loud, she's hood, she's this, and it's not even that. Me as a person, I might be loud or aggressive at times, but I'm a kind-hearted person. My dream is to become a nurse. I love to help people. Sometimes I feel like I can't do it to my best of my potential. I feel like other people could do it, but I really feel like I won't be able to do it the way other people do it. My order of photography, it was basically about like police brutality, being identified as a black woman. I feel like we invest with the law system and the police instead of the community. We need to put more money and invest into communities to make it better instead of just pushing it to the side. When I hear the word safety, I envision a community where I can walk down the street without hearing no gunshots, no building burning, or I don't have to worry about hearing on the news that somebody got stabbed up in an alley.
My name is Faith. I am from Red Hook, and I'm 19 years old. I think a worldview of somebody from Red Hook as somebody who probably doesn't have much, so I don't think they view people from Red Hook as much, but I am something. I see myself as someone who is creative and makes something out of nothing. My dream is to be an author. I want to use my art to create a series. I just need to believe myself a little bit more. I feel like there's a disconnect between older and younger people because older people are really stuck in their ways. That's how it's been for years and generations. So when young people come up and tell them about, their views on certain things that may be a little bit different, they don't want to accept it because, I guess that's how it's always been for them. I think people choose to be ignorant about certain topics because, that's not the reality that they live in. But I hope when you see my autobiography, you decide that it's time for a change. When I think of safety, I envision clean streets. I envision parks for the kids. I envision spaces for us to just be and, a good relationship with the police. Not them for just be around to harass or, just to show their presence, but for them to actually be invested in the community and have a good relationship with the community.
I'm Knowledge. I'm a public safety organizer with RHI. I wish that they knew we needed some assistance. I wish they knew that. And if they know, I wish they can help to, put some movement behind the things that we need for the other side of Red Hook and stuff like that. Because the way I look at Red Hook, it's kind of like broken down into two parts. And it's more so a privileged, very beautiful side, and then more so like a neglected side of Red Hook. I feel like we're just equal to our environment, like how dirty and destructive our environment is, basically. My dream is to be a creative director full-time, grow a business big enough to present opportunities within my community that were lacking when I was growing up. Hopefully that could make a turn for the youth in the neighborhood when they see more stuff that they're not usually exposed to and stuff like that. I would say the greatest obstacle is just the struggle on how to figure out how to gain your support for your dreams and what you want to achieve and stuff like that. So that's the biggest part. The main reason I think there's a disconnect is because mainly we haven't had a chance to form some type of rapport with the older members of the community, or vice versa. They haven't figured out a way to build a rapport with the younger people of the community. So it's always more so awkward. I feel like we need to figure out how to break that awkwardness before we can figure out how we can be buddies and best friends and stuff like that. In my project, I more so wrote about how the college system is unsafe. Growing up as a black and brown youth in impoverished neighborhoods, we're often taught college is the only way to like financial stability and financial safety and stuff like that. And ultimately, that's what we were trying to achieve to get out of the hood or whatever. School systems take advantage of young people and they take their life trajectory off by putting them into debt, 20s of thousands of dollars. That creates a more unsafe environment for neighborhoods like that because they don't have the knowledge of what's going on yet. When I think of safety, I envision longevity safety, like meaning you're able to sustain your life without high risk of danger to you and stuff like that.
My name is Carla, and I'm a young adult living in Red Hook, Brooklyn. I work with Red Hook Initiative, and I'm a public safety organizer. Whenever I tell people I live in Red Hook, they're always like, wow, like Red Hook, like they think it's a bad neighborhood when I don't really think it is. Like, it's kind of cool because I got to see like the neighborhood ever since I moved in here when I was 3 years old. So like, you know, the neighborhood is still growing, I'm still growing, so I feel like there's a lot of like people that I know and a lot of new like businesses that I got to see and a lot of people that I've known like my whole life basically. I go to John Jay, so like I'm really passionate for justice and I want to like learn how to utilize that in my future, which is why I'm working with Red Hook Initiative right now. You know, I want to create a safer and more just world. I definitely feel like as a woman of color, like there's always going to be barriers for me specifically. You know, I'm first generation everything. So like I have to take that step forward myself. Like no one is really there like to guide me except myself. I also think like the older generations, like, you know, they might like put obstacles for younger generations, so that's also definitely something that's in the way. There's always been a disconnect because a lot of older people like dismiss our opinions just because we're young. They don't think that we know what we're talking about. In reality, we do have opinions that deserve to be shared. My autoethnography I wrote because I'm a woman of color, so like I live on Van Brunt, which is the side of the neighborhood where there tends to be a mostly white population, and as a person of color, me and my family have different experiences than like the white people around us. And on the other side of the neighborhood, there's more people of color. They've gone through different barriers and obstacles that thankfully I didn't have to go through, so there's kind of a disconnect there, like, you know, different levels of privilege like play in.
My name is Delana Bourne. I'm 22 years old, public safety organizer with RHI. Currently getting my MSW at Adelphi University, and I'm a resident of Red Hook. I feel like the older people that are in this neighborhood, they kind of look down on the youth or just see the youth as being loud or obnoxious and not really getting a chance to get to know what they're about or trying to help them to get them to where they need to be. We have potential. You know, we can make it. Just need the support, the guidance, and some unconditional love. I see myself as a success story. I see myself being somebody important, very big one day. My end goal is to have my own private practice. I kind of feel like I suffer from like FOMO sometimes, fear of missing out. Me growing up, how I grew up, and why I'm the way like I am, I talked about a lot of generational trauma and just society being like blindsided and manipulated by like the things that going on around us. Community safety, as in healthier food options, more resources for schools, less pollution, meaning with like factories or outside train stations. Just making sure that those resources are into place is public safety.
My name is Charisma Make-Water. I'm a public safety organizer at RHI. People think that Red Hook is dangerous, or some people don't even know like where's Red Hook, like what is that? It's either you label like, oh, like she from Red Hook, or it's like, where's Red Hook at? I feel like the older generation, they was raised like no technology. They was on like the little beepers and stuff. They was raised like more strict. I just feel like we innovated, especially we got way more advantages than they did. My mother see something one way and I would see it differently because like, I'm surrounded by different things. I know way more than she probably would around my age. I feel like they think that we're grown. It's not that. It's just that we have more goals. We have ambitions. Like, we want to do something. And we're young, but it's like you got to start somewhere. No matter what age you're from. Like, it's kids that's making bank off of doing YouTube. Kids are like 5, 6 years old. We're go-getters. We have more resources. So it's like it's easier for us to get on something. And that's just what they don't really understand. I had touched topics like within myself as a African American, how I feel. Like, I don't feel safe. The biggest thing that's on my mind is like police and like the biased opinions that they feel about us, and I just don't feel comfortable in my skin walking down the block and then a police stop me and then it's like I gotta play it safe. Like, I shouldn't have to do that. I should be able to have the equal justice that a white woman or man will get. Like, I'm just targeted because of the color of my skin, and that's just like a major thing that I spoke about. And then I spoke about how we don't keep the community clean and why we don't keep the community like clean, because like generally speaking, it's like housing isn't doing their jobs, moles all over, paint chipping. It's like we don't care. Like, if you're not allowing us to live in comfort, we're not gonna treat it like it's comfort. This generation alone has the biggest advantage to make Red Hook a better place. Everybody needs to speak their mind because closed mouths do not get fed. When I think of safety, I think of equality, like the safety in everybody, not just one suburban areas getting like the most safety instead of like more urban areas. That's how it should be.
Red Hook is more than just a poor beggar community. It is not as dangerous as people make it seem. We are a community. We are family. As public safety organizers, we are self-aware, we know our worth, and had the discernment to understand that Red Hook deserves better. Cleaner streets and better relationship with the police, and most of all, sustained safety for years to come.